Hey everyone, it's me, Professor Jester, and I want to make a video today about ban lists and should characters be banned and the kind of latest controversy within the Naruto Storm community. Um, I do have a personal opinion, but that will be discussed later on about this. Essentially, what happened and what this began with was a couple of players, Nietzsche, um, Spark, and a guy named Kaizen Guides, or Kashinkuma, I believe is his other name, decided to host a tournament for casuals. And so they made a ban list. And this ban list on Twitch kind of made an uproar, I would say, a little bit, especially on the comp scene. So I kind of want to discuss it with everyone. What does it mean? Is it good? Is it bad? Is it necessary? What about casual? What about comp? Or we'll talk about that later too. So yeah, we're kind of just going to talk about that, the good and the bad. And so we're first going to talk about the good because I think there's a lot more good than bad in this sense. But we'll talk about that in the next section. So yeah, let's just discuss this. So there are plenty of goods. I think there's more goods than positive. I mean, more cons. However, I think the cons going to seem a little bit more harsh, which I hope it doesn't. But it's just what it is. What it is. Um, First of all, this game has had the same meta since day one, like, or at least week one, right? I mean, Poison is broken. Mash is broken. Spark Dash is broken. I mean, everything about this game is honestly just broken, right? And you have a character like Hanzo that can poison you no matter what, basically. Sarada's second hit and everything about her kit just controls neutral better than any character in this game. Kiba that just annoys you and mashes you, and there's not much you can do about it. I mean, you can, but it's really annoying. Minato has the best grab resets, loops, and has one of the best runs in the game. So he's definitely a top character. PTS Konkuro, is definitely on the upfront to being top meta and definitely top 5, if not top 10 character. He can, with his fast dashes and his hitbox dash and his jutsus, he can basically do everything that a puppet character needs in this game. And his puppet guard is not bad. And like I said, with the fast pace of this game, he just really works well. He's always been a fast puppet character, so that just works in his favor. Then you have PTS Naruto. His mash is definitely one of the best, and that Demon Wind Shuriken is one of the dumbest jutsus out there. Then you have like supports like Momoshiki, Hagoromo, Kenshiki, TBB Naruto, PTS Tamari, Ashura. Don't forget Ashura. Don't forget him. Ashura allows people, PTS Shino. Ashura allows people who are not even good at this game to be good at this game. That's how broken that support is. So it was about time. That being said, it was about time that we had a ban list. It's about time we start talking about that. I don't think we should. The one thing that's not the argument, I think the main argument from what I've at least read and heard from other comp people and other people, I should clarify something. You can't really be, my apologies. You can't really be comp in this game. That just it's a contradiction. I mean, come on. This game is definitely a party game. It is the most party-like Storm game we've ever had, even more so than Storm 4, or actually equal so. Yeah, I think they're both equally pretty dumb. If it was like older Storm games, sure, I'll agree with you, but not this one. Absolutely not. So the more I'm going to say hardcore players, and also I need to re-clarify. I made a video about this a while back. I am not a hardcore/comp player. I used to be a top player. I've always been a top Puppet Master player and always been a top no spam or spam player, as well as Storm 4 for the first few months. I was definitely up there, but that was way back in 2017. But that being said, I am just very knowledgeable, and I like to help people become knowledgeable on the things that I am knowledgeable on. There are some things that I keep hidden now, like hidden tech, like the lightning kunai and all that. However, join the Puppet server, and we can get you hooked up. So, I personally am tired of seeing just the same characters over and over and over. And honestly, watching his tournament the other day, I was lurking, and it was really fun. Even though some of the characters I saw was absolutely nothing new, like, the Sasuke's and Minatos and Naruto's, and some of the Orochimarus. But it was really nice to see, like, Shikamaru, see a PTS Sakura, even though that did annoy him, and he's going to ban that character, which we'll talk about that in the negative part. Seeing all kinds of different characters was actually really cool, and seeing the different Sasuke's was actually really cool too. So, to see a new, fresh light in the meta, and the connections at least instead of the actual like normal, is actually really nice and really cool. I personally am supporting of this, as well as let's talk about the casual to comp. This has always been a problem in every game, but I never had a problem with it because I personally think it's a good idea. Because let's say like 5 new casual players join a casual tournament, right? A casual online tournament. Let's say only one of them decide to go to a hardcore level or competitive level and actually join the scene. We still have one less than 0 at least, right? We have one more than 0, right? We have a new player at least. That's still something. So I don't see the problem with it, as well as it's his tournament. If they want to do what they want to do with their money, they could do what they want. He even said in his last video, or one of his videos, the most toxic player base to exist. And he was talking about, the Storm base, which kind of fair. We'll go on that later. He's absolutely right. You don't have to join the tournament. If you don't like it, then don't join. It's his money. It's his tournament. I don't know. Even I don't understand the comp scene. I will explain my positioning and why I messaged and why I commented and what I said later. But I personally, my reasoning is different, right? My reasoning is completely different. I don't understand the comp scene of why they made a big deal about it having rules and stuff when it's not their tournament. I don't see most of these competitive players. I don't see doing tournaments at all. So why are they making a big deal about it? Like, I'm sorry. Like, that's the main problem. Even back then when I did host tournaments, that was the main issue I had, is people would complain, and I'm just like, you don't host tournaments yourself. Where, it just made no sense. But there's plenty of good things, but there are some negatives which I'm going to speak about now. But just know that I do think this is an overwhelmingly more positive aspect of it. So some of the negatives, I'm going to go on the overall negatives, and then I'll go on personally, right, on bias. I have been around this community long enough to understand kind of what could happen, what can't. Like, I could pretty much just guess the future just because of previous experiences. And this kind of things tend to not ever go well, just because, just like his tournament the other day, he's planning on banning PTS Sakura that I know of, right? I don't know if he was serious about that, but that's what he's planning on doing. And the issue there is he's just going to keep banning characters and banning like, the more characters are going to be explored, he's just going to keep banning them until to the point where you're just going to see the same characters in his casual tournament, aka the Sasuke's, Naruto's, and such. Because either they haven't learned how to beat it and they think it's too broken. They're just like, yeah, this is too broken or too annoying. This isn't, blah blah, or what. But there's still a balance that's going to need to be made, and it seems like his tournaments, he doesn't really want a balance like casual level. He wants a fast-paced type of level tournament, which is fair, but that's something he needs to be a lot more communicative. And that's the thing, is like, I think the approach and communication on some things were really bad, and that's where I come from. My thing is, I never heard of this guy, and he even said in his video, which I'll reference again, and I'll put the link in the video in the description if you guys want to watch too. He said that in his description also that there's like less than 500 people playing, right? So I kind of agree with that. So let's say there's less than 500 people playing across the platforms, right? Not just PlayStation, but across platforms. Then let's do about 100 to 150 of them being competitive / hardcore players, right? Or middle road, right? So with that being said, with those two, you're not going to have a very like a scene that a lot of people don't know you, right? Like it's your name gets pretty known quickly if you've done like enough tournaments or you've been around or something like that. Even if you haven't made like one big names or anything like that, your name still gets kind of known, right? And that's kind of the main issue is I hear about people all the time and people I never even heard of in my whole time, right? And I've never heard of this guy. And the few people I've talked to about him has either like barely spoken to him, right? Or like don't know much about him. And that's totally fair, and that's kind of where I'm coming from is I just wanted to know more about the guy to kind of get his perspective on things. And when he made the video about the ban list and stuff, it made a lot more sense. And I even said that in the video. So I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. Because it just like that's kind of like even in the YouTube videos, I was like, it just sucks that I've never heard of you before, because if I would have heard of you before, I would have had a better understanding where I didn't need a video to explain, like you didn't need to explain yourself, right? Like I just would have known more, right? So that's just where my perspective was and where I come from. It wasn't more like, I don't know you, so you don't have the right to say anything. Like, no, I'm not trying to gatekeep. I'm not trying to be negative or anything. It's nothing like that. It's just, I just didn't know where you're coming from. And it just almost like, all right, you don't know what you're talking about. I've never even heard of you. So to say that you're a high level, tier player, it's kind of weird to me. It's just weird to me, because you hear about everyone in the community. Like, trust me, this community is small. You get to hear about people pretty quickly, especially if they stay. If you've been in this community more than 6 months, and if you've done and if you start playing like tournaments and sets and try to do like CBs and stuff like that, or try to get your name known more and talk to people, your name gets even known, even in the Discord servers, your name gets known somehow, one way or another. So it's just weird that I have never heard of him, but I never meant that in an arrogant sense, as well as I think I agree with him on his video. I mean, it's his tournament. If you want to come in and you two-stock everyone and you say this is a trash tournament and say your say, cool, just never participate again. If this isn't your thing, then don't join the tournament, blah, 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 right? Like, even I plan on participating in the tournament, and I'm going to suck, right, because I am a puppet main. But I think it'd be fun. I think it'd be a fun, and I think it'd be different, and I think it'd be interesting to see a different side of Storm that I haven't really explored much, because I know of Spark because I've seen him, stream on YouTube, but I don't really know much I don't know anything about Kaizen or Kuma or anything about Nietzsche, really. Like, I've played him a little bit, I think in Storm 4, if I recall right, but I don't really know much about him. So it would be kind of cool to see more of that scene and talk to more of those type of people. So that's kind of also where I'm also going to come from, is the ban list itself. Is the ban list was very wishy-washy. Like, I swore I did not see Hagoromo the first time on Twitter, and then out of nowhere, the next time I saw the ban list, Hagoromo was there. But then I swore I saw Yamato at one point, but then Yamato is gone. But yet the Chojis are there. I don't understand. The ban list was definitely biased. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but the ban list, like, even though you say it wasn't, it was. Like, we could definitely say the collective opinion, like Asha need to be banned, Mitsuki, Momoshiki, those characters, yeah, absolutely, right? But, like, TS Neji? I feel like Minato is definitely a lot more broken than Time Skip Neji. Or Shippuden Neji. Yugito? I don't feel like Yugito's that broken in this game, but I don't know. But that being said, no one has really explored or showcased it. So it'd be kind of cool if you would have let some of those characters from Storm 4 that were meta in Storm 4 and broken in Storm 4 be allowed, because we never see Sage Mode Hashirama either, right? So I feel like you were definitely very biased in the tier list. I feel like you should have explored more on the tier list and like not ban as much and actually like let characters, even though your experience was from Storm 4, because definitely it was very Storm 4 bias. Like there was Storm connections, like, you know, PTS Shino, blah, blah, blah. But you definitely had a lot of Storm 4 bias, like a lot of Storm 4 bias. And I think that's not fair. I think you should, it's a different game. Dash cuts are good still, but they're not as broken. Yugito is definitely not as broken. Choji is definitely not as broken, you know. I think exploring those supports, exploring those characters are a good way to see if they are so broken to be allowed in tournaments and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? To say that the whole 100 character argument, are you really, dude? Really? There is not that much. There's not that much. You guys, there wasn't even more than like 14 new characters that were used in that tournament of yours. Like less than 10. I mean, we see Orochimaru's all the time. We see the Sasuke's all the time. We see Naruto's all the time. We saw Minato's, right? So like, we saw Karin still. You know, I feel like that one's a little scapegoaty kind of deal. So, but overall, I don't have a problem with the tournament as a lot of other people have of their normal stuff. It's just my main gripe is the ban list, and even puppets like PTS Konkuro. I definitely agree, and maybe even Older Konkuro, but Shio and Sasori is not broken in this game. They're pretty honest puppet characters compared to the other characters. So, but I kind of see where you're coming from on that one too. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. So, closing thoughts. Overall, this is his tournament. Okay, no one has to say what he can and can't do. All right, if he wants to make this tournament, he can make this tournament. I think overall it's positive, and I'm going to look at it as positive. Even in his video, we did say that we want more in this community. We want to expand this community more. We need to do more, and yet everyone's getting at him negatively. And I do apologize if I came off the wrong way. It's just you don't know me, and I don't know you, and I just wanted to get to know you. And then when you made the explanation video, it made a lot more sense. So if you do watch this video, Kaizen, please understand that I have no ill intentions towards you or anything, and I'm not trying to be cocky or arrogant. I'm not trying to, you know, there are some things in your video with the toxic that video I do disagree with heavily, like all like Naruto players only play Naruto. Look, I do agree there are some people that only play Naruto, and that's literally their whole thing is Naruto Storm. I do agree with that, and it's kind of a little disturbing. But a lot of us do play other games. You know, a lot of us went to Tekken 8. I'm sorry. A lot of us are playing Grand Blue or Under Night. I also played NRS. I played Mortal Kombat 9 through Mortal Kombat 11 a little bit, like the beginning of 11. And then I played Injustice 1. I didn't really play Injustice 2 as much like you did. I never played Fighters, but I did play Overwatch. I did play Smash Bros. I did play Yu-Gi-Oh! I did play League of Legends a little bit, or Wild Rift, as you could say. So, yeah, and I know I'm not the only player. You know, I know there's a lot of other people who play different games like COD or Siege and stuff like that. So, it just, I feel like you say that you're more into this community, and I feel like you're not really into this community as much. And because if you were, you would see there's a lot more to it, in my opinion. But that is also just me and my probably, you know, tainted rose lens. So I don't have a problem with him. I honestly think he's a really cool dude, and I like what he's doing for this community. Even if a lot of the comp players don't like it, I don't care. I'm not even comp myself. I made a video about it a while back. I think what he's doing is fine, and I think it's absolutely great. And if you don't like it, then don't join, as he said. So this is Professor Jester. This is my intake and kind of magameth of everything. I'm sorry for the long video, but I had a lot to say, and it was kind of a very interesting topic. So I'm out.